Good evening from Washington. I'm Larry O'Connor. President Joe Biden's either an absolute liar, an imbecile, or can't remember a dang thing. You take your pick. Could be all the above, I suppose. He gave an interview to ABC News' what's his name? Muir or something. It doesn't matter. And what happened was, Rush Limbaugh used to call this sort of thing a random act of journalism. David, that's his name, David Muir, actually asked a question. Now, he's getting praise in some circles. Look at David Muir. He's asking a question about classified documents to Joe Biden. Well, actually, not really. There's a lot of things he could have done in this interview that he didn't do. We'll get to that in a minute. But let's watch it together, shall we? Here's how it began.
Let me ask you one of the immediate questions. If and when you do announce that you're running again, you and the former president are both now under investigation by the Justice Department for the discovery of these classified documents. I know that you believe these two cases are very different, but I do remember something you said after the discovery at Mar-a-Lago. You said, "I thought data that was in there may compromise sources and methods and names of people who help, and it's just totally irresponsible." Can you assure the American people that none of the documents discovered in your garage or at your old office compromised sources or methods or U.S. intelligence?
I've been advised by the counsel, let the Justice Department make that decision.
All right, let's pause there for a second, because here's the thing. We've talked about this before. If he did nothing wrong, if he didn't break the law, then there's nothing stopping him from saying whatever he wants. What do you mean, I've been advised? The Justice Department hasn't advised him that. His own attorneys have said, Mr. President, if you're asked questions about the classified documents, don't say anything about them. Why? If he didn't break the law, if he did everything on the up and up, if he did nothing wrong, then telling the truth certainly can't get him in trouble, right? Doesn't make any sense. Unless his lawyers know something we don't know, and they say, oh, whatever you do, don't talk about this, because then you'll get stuck in a lie, and we don't want that to happen. Well, why isn't he telling the truth? But there's more to this than that. Let's keep going.
Alter the case anyway. There have been very few documents that have been confiscated, found in my possession that were in my possession, meaning in my home. All the stuff that was moved out of my Senate office over the years, I'm told there were a couple things that were from 1973 or 74. Documents were marked classified.
Yeah, let's pause there just for a second. You know, senators can't just take classified documents, right? If they have clearance, if they have the ability, if they have the right, if they're on a committee or something that gives them access to classified documents, they have to request classified documents. Classified documents are delivered to them in a very private and confidential and secure way. And I guess he just hung on to them. That's what we're supposed to believe. We're supposed to believe that he has had documents that he wasn't supposed to have in his possession for 50 years, since 1973, and he took them home. If he had classified documents in his office and he took them home, even 50 years ago, that's against the law. So he's just, I guess, admitted that he broke the law. Or they don't go back 50 years. What happened was he went to the archive when he was going to prepare to run for president, and he asked for documents from his Senate years that he didn't want anybody getting. He didn't want anybody seeing. He didn't want anybody leaking. And he got those documents so that nobody could get them and write an article about them or leak them to the media, and he took them home. That could be another thing, too. Either way, kind of a problem for President Biden. But wait, there's more. Let's keep watching.
They're able to, what they confiscated.
There are many who will understand why you can't comment, why your lawyers are saying not to comment. They also saw you, though.
Let's pause there for a second. There's only two reasons why he wouldn't want, well, there's three reasons, I suppose, why he wouldn't want to comment on this ongoing investigation. Number one, he did something wrong, and commenting on it would actually put him in greater legal trouble. All right, but of course we know that's not the case. He's already assured us he did nothing wrong. He didn't break the law, right? So the truth is on his side. Why wouldn't he tell the truth? All right, the second reason, he could say something that would hurt him politically. Maybe not legally, but politically. So he doesn't want to say anything. The third reason that he's claiming here is that, listen, if I say too much about this, it might influence the investigation. It might influence members of the Justice Department in how they're carrying out their investigation, and I don't want to do that. First of all, thanks for confirming for us the fact that the Justice Department and the FBI is acting politically here. I mean, there's no way to negatively or positively influence the investigation by saying something, President Biden, unless the investigators would be influenced by such things. So you're telling me that if you said something like, I didn't do anything wrong and I didn't break the law and those documents are fine, and you're concerned that by saying that you're going to influence the investigation, then you're conceding the fact that the investigators are capable of being influenced, or they're political actors instead of just cops who are just trying to do their duty and call in balls and strikes no matter what the law and investigation shows them. But then there's this. Well, let's keep watching.
You though comment on former President Trump, and so at the very least,
Because look, here's what they were showing. You guys were showing on television things lying on the ground that said top secret, national, code word.
Okay. Does he think that Trump kept his documents strewn across the floor of an office in Mar-a-Lago with all these classified top secret labels on them? What a moron. I'm sorry, our president is a moron. The FBI staged that photograph. Everybody knows that. The FBI has even conceded that. They took the classified documents, they spread them out on the floor so that they could take a picture of them to show that there were classified documents out there. And then somehow that photograph got leaked to the media. Funny how with all the classified documents that Joe Biden had in his possession, we haven't had the FBI stage a similar photograph. Why is that? Why would they only do that to President Trump and not to Joe Biden? But he said, well, of course I commented on it and I said it was irresponsible because you showed these documents all spread across the floor and then that's irresponsible. It was the FBI that did that. Trump didn't do that. But think about what he's conceding here. I don't want to comment on the investigation into my classified documents because I don't want anything I say to unduly influence the investigation. But I'll go ahead and comment on Trump's classified documents, even though, again, his comments could unduly influence that investigation. It's okay to comment on these things if your comments unduly influence the investigation of the guy you're running against. That's what we're meant to believe here. I shouldn't say anything because it might unduly influence the way they investigate me, and I'm the president and they work for me, so that would be wrong. But I'll go ahead and comment and unduly influence their investigation because I'm the president, they work for me, and they're investigating my opponent. A little bit more.
And the difference is every single solitary thing I've been asked to do, I've done voluntarily. I've invited the Justice Department to come into every aspect of any place that I had any control of.
That's a lie, and we're done with him. Take him off the screen. I don't care. He's lying. The first documents were found by his lawyers at his think tank in D.C. They didn't call the Justice Department. They didn't call the FBI. They called the White House for damage control. The White House called the archive for damage control. It wasn't until the Inspector General at the archive discovered the documents they called the FBI and the Justice Department. The investigation into his home, both of his homes in Delaware, only happened after his attorneys had the ability to do a clean sweep of those properties. In fact, the Justice Department openly, out in the open, with leaks to the Washington Post, were wringing their hands saying, well, we're still deciding whether we want to search the beach home in Rehoboth. Do you hear us, President Biden? We over here at the Justice Department, we're considering searching your home in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. And then, of course, Biden has a week to go through his home and hide anything he wants to hide or shred anything he wants to shred. And then and only then does the FBI go in there. He's lying. They continue to lie to you. Clearly they did something wrong. Clearly they're covering it up. And if only I could ask him some questions. But no, I'm not David Muir. More to come on O'Connor Tonight.